Alfred is 60 years old. He lives alone in a wealthy mansion, part of a very exclusive neighborhood. Alfred's wife died when he was 54, and they had no children. So this made Alfred particularly sad and lonely. Solitude made him a lot closer to his thoughts and inner demons, more than he would have wanted, although precisely like he was expecting. To his neighbors, Alfred was an honest businessman who represents a large German company in the United States. This is Alfred's cover. In fact, Alfred's money comes from his past as a drug lord. However, he's retired now from his criminal life. Alfred invested his money wisely and became a completely clean, legitimate, honest citizen. But his past crimes since his wife Teresa died returned to haunt him and in his dreams. Memories of the people he killed or ordered to be killed are now constantly taking place in his mind. Sometimes, such deaths were particularly aggressive and violent, and torture was involved as well. But to his neighbours and everyone else, Alfred is just a nice and peaceful man, getting closer to his final years. Alfred likes cars, and there's a couple of them, a Mercedes and a BMW. Besides being a great cover-up, because they're German, like his alleged former and fictitious company, they are also models that Alfred enjoys. The former drug lord loves to drive while listening to music, which relaxes him, especially since his wife passed away. Such driving ritual has become a lot more frequent and even necessary for him to remain calm. This is just a bad period. I'll get over this. What's done is done. Life is made of chaos and order. That's just a balance of things. Nature itself follows the same rules. I was once part of that chaotic input. Now, I am part of the order. I'm not proud of everything that I've done, but a man has to do what a man has to do. Destiny led me to that dark past. No one forces people to consume drugs. No one forces them to be part of the business. Alfred thinks to himself, trying to convince his soul that he deserves closure from his crimes. Alfred just returned home after driving for about an hour. It's almost 3 a.m. He decides to have a nice and generous glass of old Scotch whiskey, sitting on his vast and comfortable leather couch while smoking a Cuban cigar. These are probably the only illegal things that he does and owns these days. Alfred likes candles. They also relax him. He lights up a few of them, places them on the living room table, and switches off the electric lamp. The darkness always makes you feel better. It always did, Alfred thinks to himself. Although, as if karma itself wants to play a trick on Alfred, the man is about to change his opinion. What the? Who's there? Alfred says, getting up from the couch as he sees a shadowy figure standing by the corridor that leads to the living room. Alfred is still a powerful man and is in good shape. He quickly turns on the lights, ready to fight. But there is no one there. Alfred spends the remaining hour searching for an intruder that might be in the house. And the mansion is quite big, but Alfred is very experienced in searching for people hiding from him. He used to have a sadistic satisfaction in finding his frightened victim. But now, he is the one who is afraid. Nevertheless, the house appears to be free from intruders. I guess I'm just too nervous, seeing shadowy figures in a half-darkened house while drinking whiskey in the middle of the night. What a cliché, Alfred thinks to himself, and he even laughs before finally going to bed. 1 month passed since Alfred saw the shadowy figure. Although Alfred dismissed such a vision, still he was never the same since that night. Like some primal fear was trying to tell him something. A warning against a terrible event or predator. Due to his life in organised crime, Alfred has a particularly sharp and sixth sense of such things. His reptilian brain is in good shape. Maybe someone wants to punish me for what I did in the past. A victim's relative, for example. Alfred thinks to himself. Without even realising it, Alfred was walking for several hours already. The darkness surrounded him as he walked through the unfamiliar streets, a feeling of dread creeping over him. He'd been walking on this lonely path before, but now the familiar trees and roads seemed twisted and strange. Another worldly silence made every sound resonate louder than it should have. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a figure emerged from around the corner, hooded and cloaked in shadows. It was him. He could see himself, but it appears the other him could not see himself. Before having time to process the unexpected vision, the encounter became even more intense, as Alfred looked at what appeared to be his twin or his double. Alfred's double started to run. He was running towards Alfred. The retired drug lord thought he was going to be attacked, and in a way he was, but not as he would expected. The mysterious double simply entered Alfred's body, like a fusion. But this wasn't a peaceful or harmless fusion. Alfred felt sick, and he was in terrible pain, both physical and mental, and spiritually as well. The drug lord thought his soul was going to explode. In any case, it wasn't just Alfred who was experiencing a traumatic change. Everything around him was also changing. Alfred closed his eyes because they were hurting, just like the rest of his body. When he finally opened them, he realized he was no longer in the same place. He was not even in the same plane. Alfred was not in the middle of nowhere. Or at least, that's what it seemed. There were vast, dark mountains far away. The sky was utterly black. No stars or celestial bodies could be seen. However, there was some kind of dim red light that brought a little bit of illumination. Feeble but steady. Everywhere. The origin of such light Alfred couldn't tell. In any case, he didn't even know where it was. "Oh, what happened to me?" Alfred shouted as he looked at his body. He was now a dark shadow himself. In fact, his essence felt different, as if he was no longer a third-dimensional organic body. It was as if he was a spirit, precisely and also literally a shadow body. Besides the distant mountains, Alfred was surrounded by a vast empty space, or so it seemed. He started to walk, experimenting with his new form. After a long time, Alfred saw himself surrounded by trees. They were all dead. I guess that's what I am now as well. A dead man, and a lost soul. I was hoping that there was no existence after death, because if so, I knew this was a possible outcome due to my criminal life, Alfred said to himself, surprised to hear how his new voice sounded, like he was speaking inside a cavern. Suddenly, as Alfred was curious, exploring the forest of dead trees, he heard a noise coming from nearby bushes. "Who's there? Someone else trapped in this god-forsaken abyss? Or what the hell is this?" Alfred asked. In response, he heard some wicked laughter. Not surprisingly, Alfred wasn't expecting to find friendly fairies in such a gloomy place. In any sense, someone answered to Alfred's words. "Alfred, come here. Meet us behind these bushes. We are very old friends, and we've been expecting you," a growling, almost inhuman voice said. "Friends? What friends?" Alfred asked, feeling pure and hopeless fear. "Dead friends. Friends that you killed," the voice said, as three demonic creatures finally emerged and revealed themselves. They weren't really demons, but their bodies and features were so disfigured that such was the first impression of Alfred. As they came closer though, Alfred recognized them. "I know you." "Oh my god," he said. "God won't be helping you here, Alfred. Yes, it's us. Carmine, Josie and Lewis. You ordered your soldiers to kill us," one of them said. "I had to. You were working with the police, damn it. Giving them information. You were rats. You know how the business works. Everyone knows." "It's a risk that we accept when becoming part of that world," Alfred shouted, completely terrified. "Perhaps. But did you have to kill us like you did? Your tough guys threw us into a pit filled with boiling acid, while we were still alive. You know the amount of pain that we were subdued to?" the disfigured soul said. "That's horrible. I feel awful about lots of things. I'm sorry," Alfred said. "You will be very sorry, that's true. You are dead, Alfred. But that will always make things better, because that way we can make you suffer forever." The three demonic creatures, former victims of Alfred, were now chasing him and screaming like banshees. Alfred ran away from them, as fast as he could through the dark forest of dead trees. I lived my life playing dice with death, and now I'm surrounded by it. My punishment is to die, over and over, forever, at the hands of the people that I killed. Cosmic justice at its best, Alfred thought to himself as he tried to save himself from such torture. Carmine, Josie and Lewis, or whatever they were now coming closer to Alfred. The sound of their wicked laughter pierced Alfred's spirit. It's just a matter of time before they capture me, I can't escape them. Alfred thought to himself, closing his eyes as he kept running. But after a brief moment, he could no longer hear the laughter. Alfred himself felt different, but familiar at the same time. He opened his eyes and couldn't believe it. Alfred was back in the streets, the same road where he found his double, and Carmine, Josie and Lewis were nowhere to be seen. Alfred was also back to normal. He was so happy and relieved. He was looking, and especially feeling alive once again. Everything around him looked more beautiful and welcoming than ever. Even the dreadful dark streets, the dangerous alleys. Slowly, Alfred walked back home. I think I should get a dog. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. To keep me company, Alfred thought to himself as he arrived home. His heart was filled with hope and ready to start again. He poured himself a glass of whiskey, although this time, all the lights were on. As minutes passed, Alfred was now thinking about the meaning of what he just experienced. Was it really just my imagination, producing a hallucination? And even if it was, there's probably some kind of message that I need to understand. Or warning. That horrible place. My victims are craving revenge. My mysterious double who became one with me. So many questions, Alfred thought to himself. As months went by, now and then, Alfred would dream of his double. Sometimes he would just appear and vanish. Others, the double, would once again take Alfred to that horrible hell where suffering and misery awaited. Alfred did get a dog, which helped him a lot, and he also learned to accept and to live with his nightmares. But for the rest of his life, he would be condemned to live with the agonizing doubt. Is that really the place where I'm going to after I die?
Subscribe today, or beware.